Before getting into an marketing career, definitely you need to have a sales tip. Okay? Unless you understand, how the consumer behaves at the ground, how your channel partner behaves, how your distributor behaves, it's very difficult to sit in the headquarters as a marketeer person and frame strategies and actions for it over there. But the consumers are ready to test new things. They are not shying away from testing new things. Only thing is that a product should click to their needs. If you are 80% right, let's launch it or let's implement it. Don't wait for 100% accuracy, because that normally delays the whole process and the launches and the decisions. If you really want to be successful, the basic thing is be as close to the consumer as much as possible.
Hey there, welcome to Marketing Mavericks with India. Today we have Anil Gurnani with us, who's the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at TTK Prestige. Anil's career spans over 2 decades where he's worked across multiple industries, be it appliances, paints, automotives, and whatnot. He's handled a team of hundreds of people and budgets of over hundreds of crores. We explore his journey and take a lot of advice for marketers as well as agencies. Thanks a lot for your time, Anil, and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Kavan, for giving me this opportunity.
Of course. I think I'm super excited to have a conversation with you. You've had a incredible career spanning a lot of years, and you are one another guest, of the many who's an engineer turned marketer. So I want to first, get into that. When is it that you decided you want to build a career in marketing? Because I believe in your school days or in your earlier years, you picked up engineering.
Yeah, that's right. So you're right. So I started with engineering background in my mind. Did my education in big tech. I was quite a good in my career. So I was a university topper, Mumbai State rank holder, gold medalist, and all. But and started my journey with engineering career. So I was with Bajaj Auto, wherein making bikes over there. So one of the part where Bajaj Pulsar bike was getting launched. So was in the R&D. So I had a good 1.5 years stint over there. But during my course over there, what I realized is, more than, definitely one is the tech part, but more than I was more keen on interacting more and more people over there while we were developing the bike and all also. What I realized was uh, I'm very much more into, interacting with more people, understanding, what they're talking about. I want to be, surrounded by many people always over there. So that's the time maybe when thought that looking at this, let's pursue uh, my MBA and shift towards marketing. So I did my MBA from MDI Gurgaon. I did my MSc from EDEC B School in Paris as well. So post that, my marketing career, sales and marketing career started, I would say. So the initial 3-4 years were into sales and distribution with Aisha Motors. Then I was with Asian Paints. In Asian Paints, then after my short stint of 2 years of sales, I was been shifted as a into marketing.
I must ask you, how does one really transition so easily, right, from one field to the other? Because I talk to a lot of young folks, and they've maybe done engineering like you've done, or they've pursued something else. And you're saying you also did extremely well in that field. You won medals and awards. It's very difficult for somebody to, give that up. And often that stems from them not being very sure of what they actually like, right? They know what they don't like. Maybe that's why they want to make the switch in the first place, but they don't know what they really like. So they're very much confused, and they're unsure, what's the right step. So what was going in your mind that time, and how did you convince yourself that, hey, let's restart? My 2-3 years, have been helpful, but let me jump domains and do something else in marketing.
See, I would say, what happens normally when you, so for example, if I did my engineering, so I would say that, it has the whole thing that I did over there hasn't been used and still I'm not using it. See, because what happens, the engineering, what it gives is, it gives you that kind of ecosystem where you can do multitasking. Okay. It builds your analytical ability over there. Okay, it hones your skills of doing the work in during a time frame. over there. So it's not about, only the technical aspects that you learn, but the whole ecosystem, the environment. Okay. And I think that makes a lot of, impact to your, career and how you think you are over there. So so I think, during my graduation days, all these things have helped me to actually, look at, how to do my task in time, how to do multitasking, how to, uh, maybe burn my midnight oil over the full night and still be awake in the whole day for next day over there. In fact, I remember our MBAs in colleges, we were been taught that, don't look at what is night and what is day. It's only, it's just into the mind. Okay, so if you can work a full day, full night, you work it. Okay, sometimes, and sometimes if you have get a nap in the day, you do it. So I remember, many times over the whole night we used to have presentations, case studies and all. We used to, and have a nap in the afternoon. So all these mind frame issues of, that you have to sleep in the night and, awake in the day, so all that has gone. So honestly, I can actually work for 24 hours, and then have after that a good nap also over there. So I think, all these education setups, so whatever you do, it's any kind of graduation, I would say. So the setup, all these things actually give you that ability and the capability to actually work into a different environment over there. And that is what, and that flexibility that brings in. Because if you really, and that has helped me in a way, because if you see, during my entire span of time, it is career, that it is not that I have worked in one industry. Okay, I shifted from, was to start with automobiles, then with paints, then with consumer durables, lightings, then now in kitchen appliances. So so all these things have helped me to create that flexibility, that, you don't have to have bar that, okay, I am into a particular field, I will just look into that, and I can't, get into various fields. But that gives you that, mind frame, that, you to adapt in different environments with different industries, different cultures. Because I have been working with different cultures of organization as well. Bajaj Auto were an Indian company, then with Philips, which was a complete MNC company, then coming back to Crompton, now with TTK Prestige. So all these things, I would say, hone a particular skills into an individual, which helps him a long way over there.
Fantastic. No, I absolutely agree. I think thanks for sharing the anecdote that engineering really teaches you resilience. And I
Yeah.
think anything you do always compounds if you're mindful about it. Before I, get into any specific details about your journey, I wanted to ask you about the role of a CSMO. You know, I've heard often that there's a sales persona, there is a marketing persona. Sales people are very different than marketing people, and at the same time, I see a lot of CMOs today, just as CMOs, starting their stints as a salesperson. So can you talk about what's the real difference between a CMO and a CSMO, and how does the intersection of sales and marketing really help an organization?
See, you're right. So, and I have always believed that, before getting into an marketing career, definitely you need to have a sales tip over there, because, that helps you a lot. Okay, unless you understand, how the consumer behaves at the ground, how your channel partner behaves, how your distributor behaves, okay, and what kind of environment your sales team works into, it's very difficult to, sit in the headquarters as a marketeer person and, frame, strategies and, actions for it over there. So I have also started with my career journey with sales over there. So coming back to your question, see, definitely, what happens is over the period. So for example, I started with my sales. In marketing also, then when I shifted, I have worked with various aspects of marketing, because marketing has also so many domains that it's not just simple marketing. So for example, I started with product management, then went into trade marketing, then went into brand marketing, then as a marketing head completely. Okay. uh, and now with, having an experience of both sales at a regional manager level and having a marketing head at a national head position overall, and now got into a role where, those two things get combined, and we call it as a CSSMO, uh, uh, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. But interestingly, over here, though the designation is CSSMO, actually I look at many other things as well. So you you can't have that kind of big designation, but so I look into the service aspect also. I look at the logistics. Okay, I look at the sourcing part as well for the organization over here. over the period, when you have done both the things, it helps when it converges into a one role, because you can see both sides of it. Okay. Because sales head would have is different requirements and objectives. Marketing, because he will be looking at his top line, his sales. Marketing will look at more of his bottom line. So as a individual who is responsible both the things, you can actually look at both the things together over there. So whenever, for example, when a new product getting launched, so since you have the whole entire view, and you have to look at both the buckets over there, so you look at starting not only from consumer mindset of product development, but actually also getting into how the distribution of this product will be happening in sales, and what is the right kind of target to be delivered for these this product. So that helps in a way that to balance both the things, because you understand both the sides, you understand the nuances of both the sides, what issues that the other both the people face, and you can strike a balance between both of them.
Got it. Makes sense. So I think one thing I kind of touched upon, rather what I noted, is the importance of young people when they enter their career to do sales, and I think I fully resonate with that as somebody who also does sales for IndieFolio. The feedback loop you get is very exciting, right? Like in marketing, you do something, it goes live, they react, it comes back to you, and it happens in such a quantitative way. It's hard to pinpoint, but in sales, you pick up the phone and in the next 10 minutes, you know
Yeah, yeah.
what people think, and the more you do, the more nuanced your understanding would be. So fully understand that.
In
I
fact,
want
that's the reason why I always, tell my team and wherever I go, and any of the young chaps that I meet, that always, you should dirty your hands in sales for good time over there. Because these kind of experiences, honestly, you will not get once you grow up the career over there. And I believe, the first 5 years of sales what I've done, actually that is only helping me now at this role, like even. So whatever I have learned at that time, it's helping me a lot over there. In fact, I remember during my sales stint, because I was with Aisha Motors, so selling trucks. Okay, I remember going into a truck for 2 3 days, going into various tempo stands, distributing pamphlets. We are speaking with truck drivers and all fleet owners. So those kind of experiences, you'll never get once you go up over there, and really that hones your entire understanding and grounds you to the reality actually.
I'm so glad you mentioned this. I have a few friends who are selling to the Bharat tier 2 audience, tier 3 audience, and they're sitting out of BKC. They've never probably crossed anything, remotely there. And they often wonder, why is this not working? And I'm like,
Yeah.
you've really not got your hands dirty by actually meeting people. So I'm glad you say that. And, that actually is a good segue for my next question, Anil. You've been in many industries, right? You mentioned trucks, and there was paints and lights and geysers, and now a lot of consumer appliances and durables. One assumption I'm having is any marketer who goes through multiple categories forms a really good understanding of the first principles of consumer behavior. And I wanted to try and see, do you have any particular consumer behavior you've observed that remains to be consistent across all the categories you operate in?
See, one thing what I have realized is, uh, I would say it, at least in India, because I have mostly worked in India only. The consumers are ready to test new things. Okay, so they are not shying away from testing new things. Only thing is that the product should click to their needs. It should look at what he's look and his unmet needs, and whether the product is looking for. And there's no dearth of money over there when they find a strike balance, what their need is and what the product is delivering. Okay, I have seen, it clicks. And I always in fact tell my team as well, jokingly, that in India anything can sell. Okay, because the consumers, the cultural nuances are so many, the geographies are so much, nuances are so much. Okay, that the needs of the consumers are also varied. Okay, in fact, many a times we also don't realize, that whether this product will sell, but to a surprise that sells more than, far more than our expectation over there. Because, and these consumers actually, many a times what happens is you launch a product, with a certain USPs in mind. You talk value proposition for a consumer in mind, but when it goes to the market, and when you hear from the consumers, actually you hear lots of different stories and needs, what has actually this product done for them, which maybe you wouldn't have realized while launching it also. But only thing is, the product needs to hit the right chord, the needs, the it should strike a balance to their values, their needs. Okay, the brand should be strong. So that is one thing I have seen, that. And that's the reason why I always in many of the industries, in fact, many of the industries actually have. So I have worked in organizations where we were the leaders. For example, Asian Paint was a leader. Okay, I have worked. Philips was a leader in its whole field, but I have also worked in industries. For example, Philips, I launched the modular switches business for them, where we were just nowhere. Okay, we were. In fact, there were more than 20, 30 companies in switches, and Philips just came globally, piloted in India. So we were nowhere. So I started from scratch over there. In Crompton, when I was in lighting, we were among the fifth player, which we came up to second player subsequently. But and then I was heading butterfly business, that also there, wherein it was not a leader in itself. So I've worked with environments wherein we were the leaders, and somewhere we were as a challenger brand over there. But either way, one thing is definitely is that you look at what your brand you want to position it as. Okay, and look at your consumers, they are ready to experiment. And of that I have always seen, and I have that's why I tried, tested many launches, new products, innovations across, and most of it got a success out of it. Definitely everything doesn't get success, but definitely most of it success actually. But that doesn't stop you from trying over there. And I always believed also that if you are 80% right, let's launch it, or let's implement it. Don't wait for 100% accuracy, because that normally delays the whole process and the launches and the decisions. If you're 180% at least confident, try it, launch it, implement it. You will learn over the period after that.
Superb. I think that's so encouraging to hear for anybody new, who's trying to kind of build their business, that you'll always see consumers experimenting in various areas. Um, I wanted to kind of, just touch upon that. So the examples you gave right now, where you went from, I think, the fifth position or zero position to the top, the kind of products you deal with, right, from untrained eye, seems like there is a lot of homogeneity, in, let's say, switches, or for the lighting or anything else you mentioned. And even today at Prestige, I can see that you've got several hundreds of products, and I don't really cook, so for me it all looks the same also, per se. So how is it that you position a product in a market which feels like it's very hard to differentiate from your competition?
If you really want to be successful in any of the business or any of your role, the basic thing is be as close to the consumer as much as possible over there. Okay, so when I say it's consumer and customers, so consumers is basically who use your products, and customers I normally call it all my channel partners through which we sell. So you need to be closer to your customers and consumers both, because both are important for your brand to get succeed into the market. You can have a very good, very innovative idea which a consumer, it's good for consumers, but if your customers doesn't support you, in placing, selling and all, you can't really have a headwind in terms of sales over there. So you have to be closer to both of them, understand their needs, I would say. And then you can and there always is a way. I can just go on giving you examples. For example, switches you talked about. Okay, when in Philips, where we are looking at building a portfolio of switches, switches, as you rightly said, all switches seems same. The people, consumer don't realize also which brand it is over there. But we went into various aspects, what are the consumers pain points over there, and simple things. For example, in switches plugs, if you would have seen, normally if you have to put a two-way plug into a 3-pin socket, you have to need a pencil or something to lift the shutter up and then put the 2-pin over there. Okay, you can't put a normal 3-pin 2-pin into a 3-pin plug socket over there. So we looked at that, and actually we built up a dual shutter technology over there, so that you can insert a two-way pin plug also into a 3-pin without lifting the shutter over there. Okay, so just little insight over there. So for in lighting, I remember in Crompton, we came across, anti-bac LED lamp, wherein it was the first technology in the overall world, wherein, it kills 99% of the bacteria in your house. And most importantly, we came up with this idea with just a consumer need to pay only 20-30 rupees more than his regular LED lamp. So it was not something very expensive or, very jazzy, or he has to pay in thousands. A normal LED lamp at that time would cost 100. This was costing 120-130 rupees. Because many a times what happens, it's very important that to understand what his unmet needs are, and there are latent needs of the consumers which maybe a consumer is also not able to spell out also many a times. Okay, so as a marketer you need to really look at what those needs are, and it's very critical that while interacting with them, you really understand what he's saying, and maybe some later needs he's not talking about but he really wants. For example, when we're looking for this lighting technology, so people talked about, just we asked them, what else do you think apart from lighting lights, what it can do for you. So so consumers talked about, see, nowadays health is priority for me. I don't know whether your the lighting can give me a benefit out of the health for
Mhm.
my family. So we came up with this anti-bac LED lamp, wherein it kills the bacteria in the house, in the room, where you lit that LED lamp over there. These are certain insights. For example, if I look at in TTK Prestige, so as an organization, this the TTK Prestige organization also believes in innovation by far, and that's the reason they. It has this has been this year is the 75th year for TTK Prestige. Not many organizations actually can touch this feat over there, and not only just question of existence but the market leadership position over the years over there. So it's very critical important. So the organization have also built through innovation. So a GRS technology of pressure cooker, for example. So in 90s, 50s and all, adoption of cookers were very less. People were the product in itself was not looked at a safe product by the consumers. So the organization TTK Prestige came up with a GRS technology which made the cooker safe
Mhm.
across over there. Okay, so a little insight. Okay, people were liking the product, the usage was good, everyone, but the safety was something, because there were some instances in some brands wherein it got burst. So that safety was always a concern. Adoption was slow, but organization came up with those insights, built a safety technology around it, came up with the GRS technology. Okay, and built up this and launched this. And in fact, they never patented this also, because they wanted the entire industry to adopt it, because they didn't want only as an organization that we sell cooker, but we wanted the consumers adopt it more, and it's good for the consumer. So that's a big thing. So we also so these are certain examples, really, if you are closer to the consumers, listen to them what they want, you can come up with a breakthrough idea, honestly, which and it can be, it's not only that you have to be a challenge a market leader for that. As a challenger brand also, you come up with something nobody has thought of, can give you a good headwinds.
Fantastic. I think I loved the examples. Thank you so much for, kind of drilling down to the specific aspects. Um, I don't think a lot of people associate marketeers with new product development, They forget that those various P's in marketing also have product in that. Maybe for a lot of people who aren't fully aware of this, can you just quickly share like how marketing teams influence product development?
See, there are two pieces I would say, in new product development. So one is what we call it as a novelty or an innovative idea, and one is what you can say, just filling up the gaps what the competition has as a Me Too product over there. Okay, so what I believe over here is, as a marketeer, definitely uh, insights and the initiation of that need comes from the marketeer.
Mm.
Okay, so he or she interacts with the consumers, understands them, comes up with all these unmet and the latent needs, and brings the problem to the table. Okay, in front of the R&D team, innovation team, the manufacturing team, the quality team. Okay, yeah, this is what the consumers are saying. So these are the needs of a consumer in this category, and these are the problems that, see, one aspect is, you competition has it, you have to launch, that is very easy, just copy what the you, because that's also need to be done, you need to be there across the laddering over there. So that is one side. okay, competition has it with these products, can we better that off and launch it? That is one side. Other side is on the innovation piece, which I more you know have emphasis on
Mhm.
over there, that these are the needs of the consumer. He brings it onto the table, and we have a workshop over here also, that what for these needs, what can be the prospective solutions to it
Mm,
over there. What can we do this now? This is a need on the table now, how to solve it over
mm,
there. Can how, feasible, not feasible. So always we have such exploratory stage projects in the organization over there. See, it might take 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years time,
mm,
okay, to come back with a solution, but that's fine. Definitely you need to have such kind of exploratory projects into the funnel over
mm.
there, because so that people should keep on working on this, so sometime it will see the day and we'll launch it into the market over there. One is on the product that per se. Communication, innovation in communication is also very critical actually,
Yeah,
because as I said, see, and as a marketer though, definitely you need to know how to market yourself over there. Okay, so
absolutely.
definitely communication also plays a very key role. Okay, how you want to communicate it over there. So launching of the product is one. So wherever, whichever examples I talked about over there, so one was, I talked about how the new product innovation comes up. Then the communication was also been worked out very innovatively. So,
Right.
for example, I remember when that switches, when we launched that dual shutter, so we came up with a campaign with Ranbir Kapoor and with twins kids over there to show the innovation over there. In LED anti-back campaign, we actually, for the communication per se, we got it certified through IMA, because we thought Indian Medical Association, that no more bigger authority in India who can actually stamp this product with a 99%. At that time only, a product like Dettol was only having an IMA certification of that kind. So we came up that that let's have an IMA certification, and we put it on all into the packaging, so that the consumer beliefs comes in. Because
Right.
I can say this bulb will kill bacteria, but whether my consumer will believe it, because there is no physical thing, you can see with your naked eye that it is killing bacteria in your
Right.
room over there, right? So you need some authority to stamp it. So we went to IMA, got it certified in packaging, communications, all across. We talked about it over there. Coming to the TTK Prestige example, the kind of communication that time happened. So the old ads, if I don't know if you remember, when we started with that tagline of जो बीवी से करे प्यार वो prestige से कैसे करे इनकार. Okay, so that was with the two objectives. One was definitely along, make that the product is safe. The technology has been driven so much that it is safe over there, number one. And the communication was more towards that, and then we went into Abhiyash, getting them and into our brand ambassador, to make the brand look more premium
Mm.
also over there. So communication also, so one is the new product, definitely the innovation, lots of innovation required on the communication angle as well.
Absolutely. I think, I'm glad you brought up the campaign. I did my research and I kind of went through that because the ad came much before I was born. In fact, I was speaking to my mom and she remembers this ad very clearly. Um, I think it was pretty incredible, when I look at the storytelling and the kind of core components. I believe still today it will work, if it's done in a similar fashion. So it was a fantastic campaign. I want to touch upon the campaign aspect, of marketing now, where uh, you've been in companies which have had multiple iconic campaigns, and you must have worked with a lot of agencies too. So what's the secret to really cracking a campaign which resonates with the audience? If you could, I think you've given a lot of examples. If you could take one of them and tell me the story behind it and why it worked from a narrative and a creative standpoint, it'll be really exciting.
See, what I believe is, one thing is very critical for any marketing campaign to be successful. First, internally to understand what are the parameters or what are the metrics that you want to achieve with that campaign. See, many a times what happens, you come up with something, and honestly, after launching it, you don't know how to rate it and how to, what parameters you thought of, what metrics you brought in, and whether you delivered on those things or not. So, first critical, most objective is, bringing on table, first of all, what is the objective of the campaign. So, what I'm trying to do with this campaign. Okay, uh, and after the campaign, what I'm trying to achieve over there. So really fixing up those metrics and parameters is key.
mm,
First thing to start with for any marketing campaign over there. So when you have framed up the objectives, okay, this is the deliverables I want to do. Okay, I want to target so and so TG, and this is the communication I want to have into the consumer's mind. It can be anything. I want to drive sales. I want to drive awareness. Okay, uh, so but that has to be clear beforehand over there.
right.
And that's why I believe that though you will be having agencies to work around with the scripts and all that stuff, it's very important for a marketer of the organization, okay, the team who gives the insights to the agencies, what
Mm,
is required. So that brief document, I really say that that's the most critical part of the campaign. Okay, because clearly stating what you needed, and
mm,
honestly it's not so easy to do that.
yeah.
Okay, it's very easier said than done. Many a times it takes months to make that document, just one page document over there. Okay. So because you have to be clear, you have to be sharp shooting across over there. Because as a marketer you tend to do many things. I want to do this also, I want to do with this campaign, I want to show range also, I want to talk about this product also, I want to create awareness of this feature also. So he will have various things he wants to do
Right.
into a 20-second tvc. Okay, but really you need to now hit across, no, what are the key things, one or maximum two things that you want the consumer to take away from this campaign over there. So bringing that on table and actually documenting it, so I believe that's the most critical part in the campaign over there. Then definitely you work around with the various scripts, whether, so once this is clear, then you look at all the scripts, which is the best fitting script which will deliver your objectives over
Mm,
there. Okay, and then the production and execution happens. And execution also, it depends on again, what are your deliverables, what are the metrics, what are the TG. Now accordingly, where you want to communicate this ad into. Okay, so which media, which mediums you want to communicate over there, where you want to spend. So all, so it always start with that one pager document, honestly, over there. So just to give an example, so for example, when we did this anti-bac LED lamp and all, so one thing was very clear that it definitely kills 99% bacteria. We were clearly knowing it. So the objective was clearly that, okay, one, we want to know people that it kills bacteria, but other thing is also so that they believe into this.
mm,
Okay, and they have the confidence in that it actually kills bacteria and it's safe for everyone, for the
mm,
consumer. So another thing, because consumer might, okay, it kills bacteria, so it might not harm me as well.
mm,
Are there UV rays and laser rays that will harm me also, or my kids? Okay, so we were thinking that all these apprehensions can also come when we talk about that there are rays which will kill bacteria in your room
mm,
over there.
mm,
Okay, so it was clear that this campaign, one, we want to have that people need to believe that this actually kills bacteria. Number two, that it is safe for them as well.
mm,
Okay, so then when we created the scripts and also, I don't know whether you have seen the TVC. So we came up with a kind of a couple wherein the woman was pregnant. Okay, she was talking about this lamp. Okay,
mm,
so one, it, and in the lamp the clear most communication was it kills 99% bacteria, and IMA has authorized it over there. So one, it gave the believability, yeah, it kills. And another thing is, a pregnant woman talking about it. Okay, see, because more than that, nobody can be in a situation wherein it's caring about its child. Okay,
right.
that's the most critical period, for any mother over there who will care about her child and all, her health and her child's health. So we said that, let's take that moment and that lady talking about it.
Right.
So just giving an example, how that creating a document, then actually looking at the script and the campaign, delivering those, objectives is very critical over there.
Fantastic. No, I think you gave a fantastic framework, right? Like, I think you mentioned like goals and metrics, great brief, good treatment, and then finally amazing execution. So,
So we have launched a gas stove which is, having the highest thermal efficiency into the market. So normally nobody knows that, many consumers don't know that, normally all your gas stoves are at around 67-68% thermal
Mm,
efficiency. So 33% of your gas actually, which goes from your cylinder to your burner, gets lost.
mm,
Okay, transmission losses over there. So we came up, with a product, again, this was coming from the inside, that from the consumer. So we brought up this idea that, let's have a highest thermal efficiency gas stove. So we came up with a gas stove with a 75% efficiency gas stove. It is the highest into the industry. So we got the product right. We got the innovation. Okay, we launched. So now it come the campaign part, the communication part. So when we again sat down on the document or making the brief to the agency, it was clear that one, consumers don't know about this, that your current gas stoves are giving only 75,
mm,
77, 65, 67% thermal efficiency. Number one, how to make them aware of it. Number two, thermal efficiency in gas stoves is a new concept. People don't normally people don't talk about thermal efficiency in a gas stove. While you when you purchase a gas stove, you'll talk about it's a two burner, three burner,
yeah,
aesthetically it is good, okay, all those things only. Nobody talks about efficiencies. So how to make it, more relatable to the consumers, that they actually understand what this efficiency is. Now in
mm,
a EVC campaign, I can't talk about transmission loss from cylinder to this. I can't explain all those so many things over there. So it has to be sharp shooting, that consumer really struck that, okay, this is the, what do you mean by thermal efficiency. So we were, clear. So that was the objective set. Then we debated, we have heard lots of scripts and worked around it. So we came up with this beautiful idea of, relating the thermal efficiency to the mileage. In India, everyone understands mileage, okay, of the vehicle. Okay, so everyone knows, what is mileage of a car, mileage of a vehicle, or everything. So we related this thermal efficiency to mileage.
mm,
Okay.
mm.
Now, so in this campaign, if you really see, so we talked about, a gas stove which gives the maximum mileage. So we, the tagline was, अब जब भी gas stove की बात होगी, mileage की बात होगी. Okay, so it struck immediately, that okay, what is thermal efficiency? So we talked about 75% thermal efficiency. High thermal efficiency means high mileage. Simple. Okay, so immediately struck. Okay, okay, thermal efficiency is this. That, if there's a higher thermal efficiency, I consume less of gas, okay, and more savings. Similarly, as it is for mileage, it's higher mileage means less of fuel and saves money for me. So these are things, it's important that, clearly stating, one is on the innovation on the product, but innovation on the communication is also very critical. And in that, this, again, I'm coming back to that brief document has to be very clear.
Absolutely. I think creating that scaffolding really helps you in creative people give ideas which can work. And I think
Yeah.
marketers have a lot to do with creating those structures. You mentioned about the brief so often, and I wanted to kind of, I'll give you a perspective from the other side, right? We are a network of a lot of agencies as well as a lot of independent creative people, and we work with a lot of brands. Now, what has happened is in the last 15 years, the kind of work you need to do, right, from one billboard to a tvc to a radio maybe a few times a year, has become like hundreds and thousands of creatives to be delivered every month. And because of that, what happens is even marketers, I empathize with them, don't have the weeks and months to actually make this brief, right? And
Right.
it's a constant back and forth of, I give me what I want, do I know what I want, is it feasible now to have such processes? So you've obviously seen the entire evolution in your career. If a brand today is demanded to create such high scale content production, how can they still follow those four frameworks and deliver on everything from a TVC to also your BAU work or your CRM marketing, which is getting increasingly more and more important?
Yeah, you're right. See, for that, you're right, because it's not only about, one side in the marketer or the agency to work on a less time frame, but many a times it what happens, organizations also, come up with a sudden idea that I have this, I have a new product, I have to launch it next month, so you have 15 days to give a script, finalize it, and have the production also been done over there. Okay, so many a times it is from here also, from the organizations. So but I always, in fact, talk about that, See, for creating such ideas and this innovation, okay, if you want to really hit hard, you need to give that time. So over here also what we believe is, if I had to struck a campaign, for example, in August, September for my season period over there, I need to start. So one, the product has to get launched, by March or April. It
Mm.
has to be into the market so that the placement is there. Okay, so before, because we at least I have always believed, if the product is not placed into all the critical stores, no point in having those campaigns that where a consumer goes in and doesn't find your product over there.
Correct.
Okay, so let's have the product being placed for 2 to 3 months time in most of the key counters. Then you at least start your marketing brief scripts and everything 3 months before, when you
Mm.
want to hit the market over there.
Mm.
Okay, because that gives an enough time and space. And in fact, honestly, believe me, we have multiple of rounds of scripts. It takes time. Okay, and
Right.
normally we don't agree to anything that that is not hitting the chord over there. So we are okay not to do it or delay it,
Mm.
but let's not execute it if we are not very clear. It's not a question of doing a tick that, okay, in a season I have launched this. Okay,
Yeah.
because at the end it's not only about the money that goes wasted in the production, but also on the communication, the crores of rupees that you put onto the tvcs. It's a big money to be put in. So it's not just a question of having a tick. Okay, but you need to actually look at the ROIs of the monies that you have spent, whether it's giving you that. And most importantly, for a product, okay, you honestly have this one single window. Okay, for
Mm.
example, this gas stove what I talked about, I can't just have one campaign, and if it failed in next 6 months, come up with a new campaign for the same gas stove. Okay,
Yeah.
it becomes very difficult actually, for the consumer or a customer also to again relate and go back to what happened, and this is a new campaign over there. So honestly, I believe that we have only one single window.
Mm.
If you struck, you struck. Otherwise, you lose over there. So better off, you know, give time over it. Uh, Whenever you do it the best over there.
Fantastic. No, I think thank you so much for sharing your point of view. I fully agree that I think that it's on both sides, and it's also the how the market is changing. So I think a lot of people need to really relook at a couple of aspects.
And nowadays, so many companies coming up, so many campaigns. There's such a clutter of ads, in all the medias. In fact, I would say it has become more and more tough to make your campaign stand out.
I love it. I think it's very rare for marketers to say, let's not go live if it's not good, because sometimes they really take the calendar as the holy grail, and they're actually creating non impactful ad and leaving money at the table, or in fact, burning money just because they want to kind of check it off, right? Saying we need to be in this media or this IP. Talking about just campaigns and creative, right? I want to talk about your experience working with agencies. You must have worked with a lot of them over your career. Wanted one question, right? This is a selfish question because I want my community to also kind of learn from you as to what do you think separates a great agency from a good agency?
So, I would say, in that frame, that agency actually, one who understands the culture of your organization and the product and the industry is very critical over there. Okay, so that's why I always believed with working with an agency for a longer duration of horizon. Okay, unless and I have seen nowadays what's happening is, many organizations are working with agencies just for one campaign. Okay, for next campaign they shift to a new agency over there. Okay, somewhere somehow I'm not a firm believer in that. Okay, at least the creative part. Okay, the media can be looked at differently, but from the creative angle, the agency should really understand the brand very well. They should really understand the industry very well, the consumers behind it very well. Okay, before giving a campaign idea over there. So, and that will come only over the period of time. Okay, you
Mm.
can't expect someone just coming on board and 1 month time understanding everything and giving you wonders. Okay, so it comes with time. uh, so I also believe that a agency, the whom you work for, the creatives and all, it shouldn't be only a agency where who works with you with a TVC campaign or marketing campaigns over there, but they have to be integral part of the strategy of the organization as well.
Right.
So it's not only, kitty gay Diwali may have to put something, okay, come up, bring them up, one campaign, and then 3 4 months no interaction. Okay, we'll talk when the next campaign comes. It's not like that.
Right.
So here also, for example, we continuously work with the agency. It's not only about the marketing campaign, but gaining the consumer insights over there. So if
Mm.
we have a particular market to be explored for the uh, how to increase our market shares over there, so we work along with them, ask them to work along with us from the consumer insights angle. Whatever FGDs and all I have to do category wise and all, we ask the same agency to do that, because that will, it's not that it's also helps them actually to understand the brand and the industry far much more better.
Right.
Okay. While giving them an idea of a campaign over there, because they
Correct.
themselves have worked into the market, interacted with consumers, interacted with the dealers, the retailers. Okay, come up with the nuances what the consumer needs, and then when the time comes when they give an idea for a marketing campaign, it definitely is a integrated of all these insights they have learned at that time, and then hitting the right chord. Otherwise it becomes very difficult. So that's why I believe an agency has to be looked at a very with a strategic intent, rather than only a tactical intent of a one campaign over there, if you really want to them to deliver wonders for you.
Awesome. I think again, very refreshing to hear this, because these days it's become very, very execution oriented, cost oriented, efficiency oriented. But you really want your creative team to think of you when they're having a bath, like that is when ideas
Yeah.
come out. And if it's happening tomorrow and then not for the next 6 months, and then somebody else calls them for other things, it just doesn't happen. So that long term relationship and a strategic outlook is extremely important. We are now towards the end of the podcast, and I just wanted to kind of ask you, one two questions.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that how consumers really want to experiment, and I see a lot of young entrepreneurs or even marketers starting new brands. I wanted to just take this opportunity and ask on their behalf, in the current domain you are in, right? Kitchenware, cookware, what do you think are some growing trends somebody should put their mind on, which you observed at your lens, which is really growing? Because today I see people launching toothbrushes and people launching the most basic consumer durables, but with a different angle, the whole D2C wave, and it's really doing well. So in this space, any particular insights which are exciting you, somebody can build a product on?
See, in this, see, as you in between, you rightly said that, we are dealing with, more than 40 50 categories. Okay. It's a very rare for an organization. Okay. So we are into cookwares, mixer grinders, gas stoves, okay, induction cooktops, kettle, sandwich makers, I don't know what all. Okay. So lots of, I can go on that part. Okay. So it's very and in fact, we are the only organization in India which is across all these categories, and it's not only about being in that category, but various all mediums and channels as well.
Hmm.
Okay, and geographies as well. In fact, in kitchen appliances we are the only company which is fairly present across India,
Hmm.
because some players are only south based, some players are only north based. We are placed across channels. So we are there in all the channels: general trade, MOR, your e-com, your CSDs, okay, MFIs, everywhere we are across over there. We have our own exclusive stores, close to 800 stores that we have, exclusive stores, wherein we continuously gain insights from the consumers from first hand
Hmm.
over there. So no other organizations right now in India has that kind of bandwidth to work on. So
Right.
one is on in terms of category, another in terms of the channels and the
Hmm.
medias over there. But we still feel that so when you're working with such a kind of bandwidth and horizon, it's critical to know what are your priorities are for that financial year
Right.
over there. Then again it comes back to the strategic thinking that you have, because obviously you can't work across all the key categories and key channels across. So you need to
Right.
have sharp shooting, that okay, these are 2 3 categories and these 1 or 2 channels that I'll be focusing in this financial year the much more
Right.
over there. So coming to a question as well, in this category, in fact, various categories are at various penetration level in India. For example, if I talk about cookers, I suppose the penetration now in India is close to more than 60% plus.
Mm.
Okay, in urban it would be more than 80%, rural it is 30%. Okay, gas stoves again is a category which is already penetrated again with close to 50% penetration level, where urban it would be 90% plus and rural would be 30% plus. But there are various other categories also where the penetration level is quite low. For example, mixer grinder is a big category. Okay, penetration level is still at around 30% in India
Mm.
over there. So lots of potential to be untapped over there. Categories like induction cooktop, okay, 5% penetration level only till now in India. Chimneys, less than 5% penetration level. So you have such categories, where still opportunity lies a lot.
Mm.
Okay, in terms of one, creating that awareness and creating the penetration into the market. So in itself, making this category big overall. So it is not only just increasing your pie, but making the whole pie also, a circle also big overall
Right.
over there. So that is on one side where the penetration level is low. On other side, when your penetration levels are high, for example, your cookers, gas stoves, and cookwares, your penetration level is very high. Over there also, the market is evolving in terms of the usage, in terms of the material being used over there. So over there, it is more and more of innovation that you will do over
Mm.
there. Upgradation of the consumers that you will do.
Yeah.
Okay, that matters. Okay, for example, cookers, it was first aluminum, then it went to stainless steel, now it is triplex the
Right.
whole. So how you have upgraded the consumers, across the chain and showed them the benefit across over there. The gas stoves, it was stainless steel, now it is with glass top, now it is a hybrid of glass stoves, and now we have come up with the innovation of Swatch campaign, wherein a gas stoves can be lifted, and just clean it easily. So these kind of innovations will help where the categories are penetrated by far more than 60-70% already over there. It's more of innovation and the upgradation that you do for the consumers. And there are categories like, as I talked about, induction cooktops and chimneys, wherein the overall penetration is low. So over there, the awareness for the product category in itself will help increasing the penetration level over there. So you have to make, so in those categories it is more of how you make the category more aware to
Mm.
the consumers, and how you make it actually more affordable also,
Mm.
okay, for them over there, and having at the product at the right place for them.
Mm.
It can be sold at all the counters as well.
Got it.
So both the kinds of categories are there where the task is different for any business leader.
I think an amazing deep dive into, I think, the entire category, right, as to where everything is at. So I'm sure a lot of people who want to build in this space or work in this space will get a great idea. So thanks for that. We are at the last question now, Anil. We're almost at time. So you've been obviously giving an incredible amount of advice for everybody, but I think at the end of the day, I wanted just some parting thoughts from you on, if any young marketer today wants to be a marketing leader like you, what's your advice to them, right? What are those things they must do to have a successful marketing career and become a leader one day?
Uh, See, I'll come back to again, in between what I said is, only one advice I give to everyone, to young people also, and to the senior people also over there, that just be as close to the consumer as possible. And it's not only about being close, but you need to really be a patient listener,
Mm.
listen to them, understand from them, and, act on it. Okay, honestly, if you do this, everything all can be sorted out, in fact, now also at this role and juncture also, I always make it a point that at least I visit 2-3 markets in a month over there. Okay, so honestly, sitting in office more than a week all kills me actually now also. Okay, so I always go to the market, meet with the channel partners, meet with the consumers over there. And always when I come, from the market, so many till now, for in this industry as well, so many learnings come from it. Okay, so many learnings. When I come to the office, I feel like, oh my god, I have lots of work to be done. Okay, lots of improvement areas over there.
Right.
And these insights, come from a very basic level person also. I just give you an example. Last week I went to one of the markets. So what I did was I went to all the modern stores and all. For 2 3 days I just met with the promoters over there, the in-shop promoters that sell to the consumer.
Mm,
I just interacted with them. I never interacted with my sales team, my channel partner, nothing. I said I will just interact with them and hear from them what they are seeing
right.
about the category, about the product, about the competition product, about the consumer insights. It was amazing, I tell you. Matlab, the
Fantastic.
kind of insights that I caught from them. Okay, so those are people, at a very ground level. Okay, but the kind of insights that they give, sir, your product, this is not selling, sir, because consumer is saying this and this is an issue. Sir,
Mm,
this product is selling because they are liking this feature. Okay, so the kind of insights they give it to you, okay, nobody can give it to you actually. So
absolutely.
it's important, so to be close to the customer and to the consumers, as I say always, listen to them, give a patient hearing to them, and make down your to-do list and execute it.
Incredible. I think that's a fantastic, area to end the podcast on. Thank you so much, Anil. It's I think a very helpful podcast for many people who want to kind of grow their careers in these spaces. So, thank you so much. I hope you had fun.
Yeah, definitely. I really, actually, it was a great fun because it drilled down my memory lane all across my entire career. In fact, many things which I, now remembered those things. It was great fun actually to, reincarnate that and talk about those things actually. Many times over the journey, you forget, and you don't get time to think about these things. But great, it was a great fun for me as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anil, and for everybody who's stuck so far, thanks for tuning in as well.